One sec, I need my coffee. Okay. Delicious. Anyway, I've been debating making a video like this for a while because I feel like I've accumulated a lot of information around this topic. Why am I trying to justify this? I don't need to justify this video, but it's nice to put it in a cohesive topic. I don't know. So today, I just want to talk about all the tips that I have accumulated over maybe 10 years that I use to manage my mental health. And this isn't like, this is from personal experience. This is what works for me. It will not work for everyone, but I find these topics, these tips are generic enough that they do help manage mental health. And this isn't, hold on, I'm taking my Crocs off. Can I show you my Crocs? Platform Crocs. I do like hearing these tips. Like, this is also a lot of stuff I've accumulated from my therapist, from other people, from podcasts, from just figuring it out on my own. This is by no means, if you are in a crisis, please, like, I'll leave stuff in the description of like helplines you can call. Like, this is managing, just managing it on a daily basis, because the reality is we will be battling our own mental health, our own brains for the rest of our lives. There is no quick fix. It's something, it's a lifetime relationship with managing your mental health. And I think there's a level of acceptance that needs to be had with that. I don't even know if I've definitely to an extent accepted where my brain's at and what it will be at for the rest of my life, but there is a level of peace once you start accepting where your mental health is just gonna be for the rest of your life. Shall we get into it? That was such a shitty intro, but whatever. So I did write this down. I was gonna put sleep as one of the points, but all these points, majority of these points, will lead to better overall sleep. Like, and it gets mentioned constantly throughout all of this. And I need to say that getting the right amount of sleep is the foundation for managing your mental health, having a better life, having just everything. It is the foundation of everything. Sleep is the foundation of everything. Okay, number one is movement. Thank you, Kitty, for that. For instance, right now in the mornings, I'm going to the gym, which is pretty close, and I just walk on the treadmill. I just like to walk, and when it's nicer out, I'll probably just go walk outside in the morning. So movement, actually, this can be lifting weights, joining a sport, yoga, Pilates, just any type of movement is so good for your body. It actually releases dopamine and serotonin in structures that boost mood. And one time, my therapist said to me a long time ago, but she said that 30 minutes of elevated heart rate is equivalent to one antidepressant. Don't know if that's true, but it's gotta be close. And this is another one that improves your overall quality of sleep. Cheers, vibes. This one I really thought was interesting. So movement reduces activity in the amygdala, which in turn reduces anxiety and improves concentration, which that's, I think, why I really like movement in the morning, because it helps my concentration throughout the rest of the day. So number two, oh, I should also say none of these are in particular order of like what you should prioritize. Like, maybe I should have done it that way, but I think all of these, I need them to manage my mental health. If one is missing, it's gonna like start leaking like a faucet. Eating whole food. So this doesn't have to be done for every single meal. I think it can get really, there could be some toxicity around that. So eating processed foods which I was finding, like when I was in a really abusive relationship, like I would eat a lot of pasta because it would spike my insulin and it would get that dopamine going and like make me not want to die. But when you spike that insulin, you have that massive crash after those meals, and it is awful. Like, I would feel like shit, and that's not how you should feel after you eat. The biggest thing I probably should have said first with this is something I've been learning coming off the pill is there are so many essential vitamins in the food we eat. Food is fuel, like that's literally what it means. And for example, magnesium, that is a vitamin that helps regulate stress. So like I like to eat dark chocolate at night, just like a little bit, but like dark chocolate is one of them. I can't remember the other foods, but you can just easily look them up. Something that I'm also gonna bring up here, it's helped me. This is a more personal thing, but I have completely stopped going on my phone or watching TV while I eat. And I make myself sit down and actually like enjoy what I'm eating and what I'm putting into my body. And like, it's almost like a meditative process when I'm eating now. Because so often we just want to sit down with like a bowl of food in front of the TV and just shovel or scroll. And we aren't actually, I don't know, being present with what we're putting in our body. Number 3, this one was obviously going to be on here, but it's therapy. I personally do therapy every 3 weeks. I have been going to therapy since I was 18 and I'm 26. So I've been going for 8 years now. When I first started going, I was going once a week, sometimes twice. And I think every single person on this planet can benefit from therapy. One thing I will say is you have to be ready. It has to be your choice. And most people just go there to like have someone listen to them and validate their feelings and their emotions, because a lot of the times we have people around us that don't. And maybe sometimes we just need that one person to validate us. And that's what I had for like 5. I still have the same therapist, but that's what she did for 5 years. The real work comes when you start taking responsibility and you start looking at those places within yourself that are like very painful. But therapy can help guide us to better self-awareness and understanding of yourself. When the therapist gets to know you, you start to get to know you, then you start developing the coping mechanisms that work for you. And that's kind of where I've developed this list from. Although I've taken out the ones that are really personal to me, you will naturally find them as you start becoming more self-aware and understanding yourself. For instance, when I say like you need to be ready and the real work doesn't come until you start looking within, in my personal experience, I was going to get my feelings validated for 5 years, and I had the same pattern of really awful abusive relationships happening to me. I shouldn't say happening to me, happening. I was experiencing toxic relationship after toxic relationship, and I kept playing the victim, and I kept going to get my feelings validated. But the real work came when I went to her and I said, I am the common denominator. Let's look at this. I want to stop this. I want to have meaningful relationships. And it was the most painful thing I've ever gone through, because it requires you to look at generational trauma. But my life is becoming more and more fulfilled every single day because I've chosen to look at myself and stop playing the victim and take responsibility for choosing those toxic relationships. Unfortunately, like, yes, it's shitty, like these things happen to you, and I hate the words happen to you. It's shitty these things happened, but you still chose them, and you choose them for a reason. And until you're ready to look at that reason, it doesn't really get better. So, like, I still recommend therapy even if you aren't ready to do that work, but maybe you're ready to like talk to someone about things. So yeah, therapy. Okay, this number 4 is something that's really recent to me, and it's been the most impactful in my life recently, and it is be more mindful of what you consume on social media. So the inner critic is something I'm really struggling with right now, which is the comparison, the judgmental voice, almost like the ego, it's the inner critic. The inner critic comes from childhood. The foundation is built in childhood because children are sponges. but you keep packing on layers with social media if you aren't mindful of what you're consuming. I just talked to my therapist about this 2 days ago, and I said, I follow a lot of people that inspire me, but then there's that level of like, sometimes I'm scrolling and I'm looking at things and I'm comparing and I'm telling myself what I have isn't enough, what I've done isn't enough. She just basically said you have to take that moment of mindfulness and recognize, why am I scrolling? Why am I looking at this right in this moment? So, and it's all about intention, and this goes for like almost anything. Like if you actually ask yourself what your intention is behind, we're talking about scrolling right now, or consuming any type of social media. When you're doing it, just why? Your intention is everything. And that can go for any topic, anything. And I always say, scroll for inspiration, listen for education, and share positivity. That's just kind of what I'm trying to live by when it comes to social media. And then while we're on the topic of these things, number 5 is no phone while you sleep. And I should also say in the morning either. But the only way I was actually able to get into this habit, because this one was a hard one, but I deleted all my social media for the month of January. That was the only thing that actually got me out of this habit of deep scrolling at night. And then for like avoiding my phone in the morning, that's only been working recently because the first thing I do when I get up is go to the gym. I'm gonna lead this back to sleep as well. As we all know, scrolling on your phone at night, it increases your cortisol, affects your melatonin, you don't sleep well, you don't have good sleep. For the morning, for me, I bet there is some science behind this, but it causes so much anxiety, and it takes the focus off what I need to get done in the day, and it takes the focus off me and puts it on others immediately in the morning. The morning is a time to set intention, and whereas the evening is a time of reflection. I find like if you're scrolling at night too, like that's where people typically get FOMO. That is one thing I've never really experienced, except for like sometimes in high school, but like I don't experience FOMO on the through socials. Knock on wood that I don't ever have to experience that. Don't worry, I have all my other demons. For example, like a personal change I noticed when I stopped going on my phone at night and my quality of sleep improved. I used to have these, I call them night terrors, where I wake up like and my heart rate is like extremely elevated, I'm sweating, I think like someone's coming to kill me essentially, and I would like have these like kind of wake up moments in the middle of the night. But it's like, since I've gotten rid of the phone at night, I just don't have them anymore. It took a while for it to settle down, but yeah, I just don't have them anymore. Number 6, this one also leads back into getting better sleep, which is get outside in the morning. This boosts our circadian rhythms and therefore improves sleep, and it balances your hormones, which improves your energy. Number 7 is journaling. Similar to therapy, helps us get a better understanding of what's really going on and what is causing triggers or depression or anxiety, etc. Because if it's all up here, it's a mess, it's chaos. But when you start getting it out, you can actually start to understand what's going on. One of the ways journaling has really benefited me, because there's so many different ways to journal, is gratitude journaling, and this has allowed me to develop this extensive list of things I can do for self-care, things that help me become more present, generally just things that will like cheer me up at the end of like a really hard day or a long day. But I have this beautiful list that like I can reflect on at any time from just like gratitude journaling every single day. When you start journaling, like it helps improve your problem solving abilities. And in terms of like what I use to journal, like when I'm traveling, I use like, where is it? I'll show you my traveling journal. So this is my traveling journal, and I love this journal so much. And this is the only time I actually really physically write in a journal. I used to write my gratitude list physically, but I actually use an app on my MacBook because I just type, I get it out so much faster. I think that's something really daunting about journaling for me, is like I get frustrated that I can't get it out fast enough. And then another thing for journaling that I find helps so much is the like voice recording app on your phone, because it's even faster than typing. And it feels so good to just get it out. And I think I got onto this because I used to voice note my friends. When shit would happen, I'm like, oh, it feels so good after that voice note. And then I just started voice noting myself, essentially. I love the voice recordings. Like, okay, so number 8 is no substance abuse. And this one I can't really expand on this because I've never had any personal experience with this. Like, personally, I don't drink at all. I don't do anything in terms of substances. And I can't really expand on it. It's kind of self-explanatory. I'm not saying don't drink at all, don't smoke at all, just don't abuse it. Like, I think that's, because I was going to say don't do drugs or alcohol, but yeah, just don't abuse it. The last 2 are honestly, I think they're my favorites. So number 9 is find creative time and playtime. So this can be cooking, crocheting, painting. For me, YouTube and TikTok, and decorating my apartment. Another one I really love is I love to play in the rain. And I like to eat my food on the floor. I like to sit on the floor. That I just find so much enjoyment in that. It's that physical reminder that life just, it's not that serious. Life is not that serious. It's really meant to be enjoyed. Oh, dancing in your apartment. I love to dance while I clean and cook. Like, that's another time I find some playtime, some creative time. And number 10, this one I think I would put next to, like, sleep is probably number 1 most important for me, and then number 2 for importance, whatever, would be what I have as number 10, which is connection. And connection is the most basic human need we have. Loneliness puts the body into a chronic stress state, which increases depression, anxiety. I think there's like other physical health problems that come with that, like to do with like heart shit. I don't know, but so this is where I would recommend like finding communities that you have interest in. So a yoga class, a pottery making class, painting classes, Codependence Anonymous is a really good one if you suffer from codependency. Book clubs as well, that's something I've joined. And don't forget something as basic as FaceTiming a friend or having a friend come over. I think we are all swimming in these patriarchal waters that devalues human vulnerabilities and the need for one another, because needing connection is seen as weak, but it is the most basic human need that we have, and it's such a beautiful thing. So last thing I want to say is just remember that self-help burnout can happen, and it happens to everyone, and you're not a constant self-improvement project. You are whole and worthy in this moment, just as you are. So there's probably a lot more I could expand on. I just thought these 10 could work for everyone. Okay, my camera battery completely died, but I just want to like finish off the video and say like, thanks for watching. I hope you got a lot out of it. I'm sorry to anyone that's truly like suffering from their mental health in this moment, because I know we all go through our highs and lows. If you ever want to reach out, I'm here. I'll listen. You got something from this? I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Yeah, I will see you whenever I do next, because I never know. So, bye.